Things are not okay. No fuel gauge has ever gone this low. Okay, we're gonna be okay. Everything will be fine.
Alrighty, everybody, and welcome back to And They Were Classmates.
Oh my god, they were classmates.
We are back and better than ever. It is, originally we weren't going to be able to record again until September.
Mm-hmm.
But we got special permission.
And I got really sad and lonely.
Yeah, and we were just so sad and we missed each other so much in the whole, 3 weeks?
Yeah.
We went without seeing each other. Oh my, I just realized it's only been like 3 weeks. But for those who do not know, I am Jess, and this is my good friend Nolynn.
Yay!
And we are officially back. I think this is the start of until we find our own recording space.
Yeah. I'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
We'll be all right.
For now, we'll keep using the resources that we are being so kindly provided by the facilities at my alma mater. We'll call it that way.
You know what would be sick if we could get a classroom and somehow move all this and then be in like, the chairs in just those like comfy like one chairs. Like,
yeah.
If we could get those in a classroom, we're like in a classroom.
Yeah.
We make it look all sick and we write on the whiteboard like, and they were classmates. And then we have like the podcast in there.
Just like a whole setup.
And just like a couple of cameras. But for now,
but
we're an audio-only podcast.
It's fine. It'd be like that. I'm fine with that for now because it's 83 degrees out and I'm sweating. Mm-hmm. So, no, but we wanted to come back because we just missed it much.
We did. And like you kind of need just some sort of like consistency. I don't have like a lot of like consistent things.
Oh, I absolutely.
Like
I graduated college and I work part-time, mostly remote. So I'm spending a lot of time on my couch.
Right, exactly.
Playing a lot of Fortnite. Fortnite season goes hard.
Is it better than the previous? Because I know you didn't really like the previous.
I think it's way better. But I also, you have to remember that my boyfriend and I spend a lot of time playing Borderlands 2 together. Mm-hmm. So we're basically just playing Borderlands Fortnite. It's just Borderlands Battle Royale for us. We just go and make a car and then get second and then we run it back.
Yeah. Today, I think I'm going to make it the intro segment. I recorded a little video. My car, by the time I reached the gas station, was on 4 miles to empty. Because there's one like closer to my house on my way here, but it kind of like, it makes me take longer to go like kind of further with, like it's still closer in proximity, but it's not on the way as much.
Yeah.
So I thought like, oh, I'll skip that one and I'll go to the next one. And so, like, when I departed, I was, like, 30 miles to empty. And I'm like, it should be fine. Like, I'm not, like, 30 miles away. Mm-hmm. And then I'm halfway on the interstate, and I look down, and it's, like, 15 miles to empty. And I'm like, that's not good.
I always know in my heart of hearts that from, like, from where I live to getting to the main campus of our college, it takes me 35 minutes, and I knew that because I always I was late, so I would know, so I wouldn't be, but I always knew that I could make it as long as, because my car turns on the light at 50 miles to empty.
Oh yeah. We have the same car.
I was like, we have the same car, so no, but so when it does that, I can make it all the way back to my town from main campus. Mm-hmm. And I remember I was driving, I had to drive out there for like another separate thing. I think I had to drop off books. And so I took my boyfriend with because I was like, oh, we can get lunch while we're there and then we can drive back because it's not that far of a drive. And when we did, we drove out there and like as soon as I turned on the car, like my light came on and Ace, my boyfriend, looked at me and he's like, we need to go and like get gas. Like we have to drive all the way home. I was like, no, we don't.
Nope. I've done this before.
We made it to my favorite. I skipped gas stations to make it to my favorite gas station, my favorite Quick Trip in town. That's also out of the way, but it's my favorite. Yeah. And I drove all the way over there and we were like 3 miles to empty. And it's not a 50-mile drive. It's just that the 2009 Ford Focus does not know what 50 miles is.
It tries to make like the perfect blend of like city and interstate like every time you refill. And then it's like no. You're kind of wrong though, because it's like because the past 2 weeks I've been doing a lot of interstate doesn't mean I'm going to keep doing a lot of interstate.
Joke's on you, Cecilia. That's my car's name.
Okay. I'm like, yeah.
No, she's a
Cecilia.
Cecilia's a beautiful, prissy lady, and that's why I love her. I needed a name that was simultaneously white trash because she's a bit of a beater, but is also prissy because oh my god, she always needs something.
Right.
Because my check engine light's always on. But every time I check it, it's nothing. Like my friend Blake is really good with cars, and he always checks out my car for me, and he's always like, yeah, it's the same thing as last time. I'm like, cool. As long as it keeps being that, just get rid of the light. It'll turn back on in like a week, and then we can do this in another month. See you then.
Yeah, I had not felt true fear. I've been at the gas station on 6 miles to empty, but 4 is different.
Dude, I've coasted in at 0.
That's insane.
But that was also the same point in my life where Ace and I were regularly paying for gas by just like pulling quarters out of my center console and putting $5 in the tank and being like, yeah, $5 in the tank will definitely make us until payday. We were walking a little bit.
But yeah, that was my morning.
That's lovely. I woke up and found out my entire family was home, and I didn't expect them to be.
I hate that.
Because, you know, I live at home. It's usually during the day, it's me and my grandma. Maybe my Uncle Don, because he has off work on Tuesdays and Saturdays, you know, and then my dad works every day, whatever. But my graduation party is this weekend. So my dad took off 2 days so that he can, like, power wash the porch and, like, you know, like, just do a bunch of stuff that he's not going to have time to do if he doesn't take time off work. So I woke up, and my Uncle Don was home because apparently him and my aunt had plans, and I didn't know about it. So I just, like, woke up, and everyone was already, like, up and dressed and moving. And I was like, it is 8 a.m.
Right.
Like,
too much.
I woke up because I fell asleep early last night because I stayed up way too late the night before. What are we doing here? Why is everyone home? Did I sleep through 3 days? Is it Saturday?
That's me and my brother. We have, like, when he gets home from, like school or rehearsal or whatever, it'll be like 4 p.m. and then we'll like make some food in the kitchen, and then just like everyone will come. It's just my mom and my dad, but they just all come home at once and like separate, and it's just like so overwhelming and shit.
Well, it's just especially because I'm used to, like, you know, I know when everyone comes home, like, I'm used to that thing, but it was just waking up to everyone being there and being like, this only happens around Christmas, legitimately. What is going on right now? Like, because usually it's only around Christmas when my dad has a bunch of time off work because he's worked at the same factory for like almost 20 years. Right. I was about to be like, oh, like 15 years. I was like, no, it's been like closer to 20 now. But because of that, he has a lot of just like vacation days that he just throws in wherever he can in December. Right. So it used to be that he took like the whole month off. The only reason he can't now is because there's another guy that's retiring this year or next year. That just has like a couple of years of seniority on my dad, and he does take the entirety of December off because he's a snowbird. So or at least his wife is for now until he can retire this year. So he leaves in December and he goes down with his wife, and they spend, you know, the holidays down there. Right.
That's my grandma. She would always skip my birthday and go to Florida.
You know, the call of a snowbird is just too.
It's insane.
I'm so glad my grandma doesn't snowbird. Her sisters do, or at least one of them does, and they go visit her. So my grandma spends, like, usually the week after New Year's, she flies down to Florida and spends a week or two there. And that's even weirder for me because then I wake up to an empty house. Oh, right. And I'm used to waking up and going downstairs and being like, oh, hey, Grandma, like, you've been awake for 5 hours. How's it going? Because she wakes up at like 7:30 usually. So waking up and going downstairs and she's not there that first day, my brain always goes like, because she's also 90, or she's turning 91 this year. So my brain is also like, she's in her bed still. She's not getting out of it. Yeah. Because that's just living with old people, though. It's just that constant fear of being like, this is going to be the day that I have to go into their room. Right. I remember one time when I was 8, my cat was like already really old when I was 8. And I was like, one night I was like, nah, this is the night it's going to happen. And he lived for another 7 years. If it makes you feel any better, we did kind of the same thing with my grandma at one point. Because in 2021, I want to say, because it was post-COVID, but it was pre like everything opening up. But I had gone back to work, and I know this. I remember vividly because I was a server. So my family, I was the only person that was working customer service. So I was the one that was being the most COVID conscious because I didn't want to bring it home to my grandma. So because for context, my grandma's 4'11" and 90 pounds soaking wet. Right. She's a little Irish lady. She taught 3rd grade forever and ever and ever. But she also will not let anyone run her house. Mm-hmm. I love her for it. She's like the stereotypical like little Irish grandma. Like, but during that point, she got really. I came home with COVID twice during that before I could get vaccinated. The first time because I got COVID before I could get vaccinated, and that was back when if you got COVID, you had to after you finished your 2 weeks of self-isolation because you had to do the full 14 days, then you still couldn't get vaccinated for another 3 months because you had antibodies and other people didn't. Like, that's how early in the pandemic we were. And
crazy time.
Yeah, that was back when
crazy.
my whole family couldn't get vaccinated for an extra 3 months.
Ugh.
because I worked at Cracker Barrel with a bunch of boomers who didn't think that masks were important. So, while they're eating their roast beef and coughing at me, I'm like, yeah, great, thanks. No, but so I brought home COVID and she was fine both times. And we were like, cool, awesome. And then she got really sick just like randomly. Like she got really weak and everything. And we were like, uh-oh. We were like, we can't do this. We can't do this right now. Like this is not the time. And then we took her to the hospital. It turned out she had a UTI, which for old people is like a huge thing. Like, because it's the same thing with like little kids. It just sucks the energy out because you're trying to fight it. And she didn't know she had a UTI because when you're old, you have enough incontinence issues that it all kind of blends together. Yeah. Like it's. Yeah. So she went in, and it turned out that was the thing. And that was when I started being like her carer because I was helping her up and down the stairs every day because she couldn't do it by herself. I was helping her get her meals. Like I was making sure she took her pills, all of that. And that was when all of us kind of went, okay, like this is grandma now. Like we're fine. Earlier today, she almost took out my ankles with her walker on her way to like run past me to go down the stairs. I'm like, Kathy, calm down. Right. Like she felt like because when she was done with the UTI, she got like better and then she got weak again. And then she had COVID the second time. And we thought the same thing and we were like, oh no, like it's COVID. Like that's bad. Like it was bad for most of the family. I was the only person that had like a light go of COVID. I was like the person that was like, I have a headache while all of my family's like laying down like, and I'm like, sorry guys.
It was so variable. Like some people were just like insane, like worst experience of my life.
I honestly think the only reason I didn't have like that bad of a go of it is because that's also my allergy season. So I was taking a lot of allergy medication at the time. Because at first when I got sick, I thought it was just my allergies. So I think because I just kept taking allergy medication, I was fine. Right.
We found the cure to COVID long ago. Yeah,
the cure to COVID is 2 children's Claritin in the morning. Because I was trying to get rid of the last of my children's Claritin bottle.
Yeah. My grandma had a friend, though, that her husband just completely died of COVID. And then, like, both this woman and my grandma still kind of remained, like, anti-mask. And it's like, that was so weird to me.
It's the same thing that's the same thing as, like, the old people that are like, I'm not going to wear a seatbelt.
Right. But then, it's like imagine having, imagine your husband dying, well... You shared a story similar, but it's like your husband dying in a car crash and then refusing to wear the seatbelt. But you shared that one story where.
Sorry, it's because I legitimately know. Like I used to work with people who would not wear seatbelts because they were like, "Well, I grew up not wearing a seatbelt and it's fine." And I even had a friend, my friend John. He's an older guy. He's like, well, now he's like really worse off, but he's in like his like 60s or 70s, and he always tells a story. He doesn't buckle his seatbelt because his brother died in a car crash. And when he died, he was pitched through. Yeah,
I think this is a story.
Yeah, he was like pitched through the windshield. And they said that if he hadn't gone through the windshield, he might have survived. And they said that they were like, oh, the reason why he went through the windshield and didn't like stop was because he was wearing his seatbelt. He got pushed like up and through instead of just straight forward. But then I pointed out to John that the entire front of the console was also destroyed, so he probably wouldn't have been okay. Like, he probably would have been just as injured. He might not have died, but he would have been severely injured still.
Wait, repeat the part where he might not have died.
Yeah, exactly. No, he used to carry... No, it's insane. He carries around pictures in his wallet of the accident. Because every time he's never gotten a ticket in his own car, I should specify, because he's gotten other people tickets. Right. But he has not gotten a ticket for people being in his car without their seatbelts on, because every time he gets pulled over, he shows the police officers the pictures from like the scene of like his brother's mutilated body, and are like, this happened to him, and I don't want it to like. And I mean this very kindly, but John is also a very gay man. Like, he's one of those guys that's like, oh, like he's super like flamboyant and effeminate, like, you know, lived through the he's very like 80s gay, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like there's like, especially around here, there's like a very specific like type of older gay man that exists, and I love them all, and I'm friends with a lot of them. But I think that also helps John out a lot when you pull over this man. He's like, oh, and I get so worried because my brother, he was so like, he talks like a Valley Girl.
He's like a Family Guy character.
He is. But I love him so much for it, and he's actually in the hospital right now, but that's because he's a 70-year-old man, so
My driver's ed instructor once said that like if you're driving and your friends aren't wearing seatbelts and you get in a car accident, they can sue you even if they weren't wearing the seatbelt. And then I wasn't trying to like devil's advocate so much, but I was like, if you made them sign a waiver, technically couldn't you like? And then he was like, nope. And I feel like he was just being a driver's ed instructor there and not trying to like tell the kid that like there's a way around it. But like I still insist, like if you made them sign a waiver, they probably couldn't sue you, right?
They couldn't sue you for like the negligence that they'd be able to, but you would still receive punishment from like the court of law, and you would still be seen as liable for all of them because you were driving. That's the unfortunate thing about driving, is that the person in the driver's seat is liable because you're the one there. No, with John, he's the only ticket he's ever gotten in his life technically for not having a seatbelt was my friend Mason. We got pulled over on our way back from a scare house a couple towns over, and on our way back he got pulled over for speeding, and they saw that 2 people in the car didn't have seatbelts, and he has on his license that he's supposed to wear glasses. He doesn't need glasses. Right. It's just on there because he wore them regularly at the time, but now he wears contacts or just goes without because he doesn't need them to see while he's driving. He needs them to read. So he got pulled over he got dinged for that, for not having glasses on, for having 2 people in the car, and then they started asking for everyone else's licenses because they were like, we need all of your names. And Mason looked at them and looked at the police officer and was like, no, you don't. You only need my name. I'm the one that's driving. Yeah. And I remember thinking to myself, because Mason is not like if I remember correctly, I don't believe he's a person of color, but I know he's like ethnically ambiguous. He's ethnically ambiguous enough that him saying that made me scared. Right. Where I was like, we are in Wisconsin. We are less than 2 years removed from those riots in Kenosha. Right. Like we're within an hour of that. Like, so it's like, maybe we shouldn't be telling the police officer. Like, I know that is our rights. Like, we didn't have to legally. Yeah. He was just asking for it so he could get us in. I think he was checking to make sure none of us were underage. All of us were over 21 though, even though none of us had been drinking. We were all over like any limits that he would have been looking for. Yeah. But I think he was just looking for something. But I was like, dude, you're already getting a $600 ticket off of my friend. Right. Who then got his license suspended because of it, because he had 3 other outstanding tickets. Mason, I love you, and I'm sorry for airing out your garbage, but it's just way too funny.
Did you see that one video? It kind of blew up on Twitter of the officer. An acorn fell on his car.
Yeah.
And he was like doing like video game, like rolling around and shooting, and it's like no one's there.
That's like terrifying to me, genuinely. Where I'm like, what if I was the acorn? Yeah. Like legit, like that's one of those things where I remember people kept being like, yeah, no, imagine you're the acorn.
Yeah, or it's like a little kid walking by, like touching the car or something.
Yeah, well, it's like how many times, like it's just so crazy how, like, used to that hairpin of a trigger Americans are. Like we just like it's something that really isn't present in a lot of other places. But that's what happens when you're like our police force also has a different like origin. That's the word I'm looking for. A different origin than a lot of other ones, because police in the U.S. didn't start from the government. Well, I mean, it did start from the government up, but it started to catch slaves. Right. It started as slave catchers, and then became they just kind of got absorbed into the police force, and that's why a lot of people will specifically be like, yeah, maybe this organization that technically is like rooted in slave catching has a few flaws in it, and that's why a lot of people are like, well, you can't talk about like old police. Like that's part of why it's so messy, is that like in the U.S. our police force has such like a messy history. It's all bad.
Welcome back to the Woke Podcast.
Yeah, welcome back to the Woke Podcast, where two queers
telling liberal stuff.
Yeah, two transgenders tell you about 2 different kinds of transgenders too.
Anyway, I have a huge story.
Oh yeah, you
took
do have a
notes.
huge story. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I just be
No,
yapping.
I like it. If I like minute 2 go, okay, here's my story, and then we're all like,
And then we're out of stuff to talk about right away.
yeah.
No, I gotta.
So, all right. Oh, and it starts with the police.
See, that was our plan all along. Cut that part in the middle.
Right,
That was our
exactly,
plan. That was our
exactly.
transition.
Do like a crossfade between them, and it's like on the word police, I go, police. All right. So this is about my work friend at work, my work friend. And so, okay, so the police come. I work at a movie theater.
I think you can say it because it's a chain.
I work at AMC Theaters.
Yeah, it was like, I think you're fine to say AMC Theaters.
And so, let's see. So we're closing. I'm washing counters and stuff, and the police are there. And they come in with a woman, and she's like, have you seen this person? And she shows me like this like heavily like Snapchat filtered picture of like her daughter, I assume. And I was like, it's like really, she looked like just the most basic woman ever
Like
in this
very
picture.
clearly, like her mom had to take a picture off like her Facebook.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And
Yeah,
it was
no,
just
I've
the
seen those.
most like, yeah. And so I'm like, do you have any other pictures? Because like this is not. And she's like, yeah. And she scrubs around and finds one, and she looks completely different in like this picture. And then I'm like, yeah, I think so. And then she's like, who is she with? And I was like, a guy. And she's like, this guy. And it's like the most basic looking guy ever.
You're like,
And I'm like, I've seen like 3 of him.
You're
But
like, I don't know, man. Challengers is out this weekend. Every girl has 2 guys with her.
yeah. And so I'm just like, I can't say with certainty that it was him, but a guy like him. That's what I say. And then they don't need me anymore. So then I text my work friend and I say, I intentionally misspell it. I say the policer, like I put the E at the end as an R, and the policer are at the theater. And they go, what? Like all capitals. And then I'm like, because I'm cleaning, so I'm like, well, I have to explain it later. And so eventually everything gets wrapped up. I ask the manager on duty like what the full situation was. And basically it was like kind of like just a missing child. Like they didn't know where this girl was, but they tracked down that the car she'd been in like the most was at this theater. And then, yeah.
So probably like a teenage girl that ran off with her boyfriend.
Pretty much.
If they're asking specifically for like, was she with this guy?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
immediately, that's always my first thought. It's like, oh, she ran off with her boyfriend. Okay.
Yeah.
But that was pretty frequent at the high school I went to.
Yeah. So then the police leave like half an hour before I'm done. And so I'm like, oh shit, like I don't think just a picture would do it justice. So I'm like, hey, can I FaceTime you and describe the situation? And then they're like, sure. And so then I open it with like me driving out of the theater, and it's like every police car just surrounding like these kids, and they're like, what happened? And so I describe it, and then we start talking about like each other's day or whatever, and then they're like, we're watching my sister's dogs right now, and they're a little crazy, and the dogs start barking a bunch, and then they like abruptly hang up on me. And I was just like driving home, and I like got really like upset, and I'm like, come on, like not even like a halfway, cut off, like oh sorry, I have to, just abrupt. And I'm like, okay. And then I text kind of like a passive aggressive like, oh okay, good night. And then they say, sorry, the dogs went crazy. I had said I had to go, and yeah, and so then I panic a little bit, and then I kind of feel like shit. But so I
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh at that. It was just
okay.
it was just so
No, that's
real. I was like,
okay.
yeah, dude, me too.
And then I send like a bigger apology, and I'm like, like, I'm sorry if it felt like I overreacted, I wasn't sure. And then I wake up the next morning and no response.
Oh no.
And I'm like, oh no, not again. Can't do this again. And so then I'm at Six Flags the next day. So like I can get my mind off it.
So you can deal.
Yeah, so I can cope.
You have the Joker to keep you calm. It's fine.
Yeah, but it was really rainy. So I text like oh, it's so rainy at Six Flags, sad face. And they don't always respond to stuff like that, but this time they especially didn't. And so then a couple hours later, I'm like, okay, well, maybe if that was just a 2 out of the blue text. I send 3 pictures. Remember the picture I posted on my story?
Yeah.
I posted like 3 other versions of it. And I was like, which one works best for like, it's rainy, but like happy Pride Month?
Yeah.
Also no response.
Oh my God.
And it's like a question. And now I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck?
You're like, work's about to be real awkward.
I know.
After
I'm like,
that.
what? Because I hate it. And so then, yeah, I have ghosted in my notes. And yeah, so it's really rainy. We go to the mall instead. We go to the Gurney Mills Mall.
I haven't been to Gurney Mills in forever.
It's sick. low-key, that was the best mall trip ever.
Does that one still have a Rainforest Cafe in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to go, but nobody was
hungry. You
hungry.
didn't go to the Rainforest Cafe?
What?
You didn't go to the Rainforest...
I wanted to.
You and I should go to the Rainforest Cafe together.
Absolutely.
We could split a chocolate lava cake.
Absolutely.
Or whatever they call it, volcano cake, because it has the like big sparkler on it.
Yeah, yeah.
I went there once when I was like 10 years old with my one of my like rich friends took me down to Shed Aquarium, and we went into Shed. It was the moment that I realized my friend was rich, because for his like 8th birthday we went down and went to Shed Aquarium. We saw the Blue Man Group, and then we stopped at the Rainforest Cafe on our way back.
And it's like happy 8th birthday.
Yeah, no, and me who gets like a swim party every year was like, what? What? We're going to Shed Aquarium. We're gonna see fish. I got to pet a stingray in the tank.
Right.
My little 8-year-old self was like, whoa.
Yes.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I got
it's
excited.
Okay.
I love
it shouldn't
I love
be just me
Rainforest.
reading the whole story. Yeah, we should.
I love Rainforest Cafe.
I'd love to go. And my family was always like, "Oh, it's so expensive," but like,
it's expensive because it's the time of your fucking life. Being
Yeah,
surrounded by all
exactly.
those fake animals, the
thunderstorm.
You and I need to do an Eddie and Ted Nivison
Yeah.
trip to every single Rainforest Cafe, and I'll be Ted. I'll be like, yeah, let's go.
Dude, that video was good. Both of them. Anyway, so yeah, we're at the mall, and this person collects a lot of squishmallows, those little egg creatures that are soft.
I love squishmallows. I am a she they. I am not immune
Yeah.
to squishmallows.
And so because I feel kind of bad, I'm like, oh, I'll buy them a squishmallow. It's whatever. And while I'm in the store, you know how malls are. It's like buy one plushie, get one 50% off.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I buy a little burger squishmallow because of the Chef Showdown thing, and then like a slightly bigger like axolotl, because I know everyone loves axolotls. And then we're at another store, and I see the Taylor Swift album, the Torture Post Department, and they're a Swiftie, and I'm like, I have a $500 paycheck coming. Fuck it.
Real.
Fuck it. So I buy that too.
I still spend like that, and I don't have a $500 paycheck coming. I think to myself, I'll be getting a job in the next few months, and then I move more money out of my savings.
Yeah. So then I want a big like comical gift box for all this. I want like the the Fortnite gift. Yeah. I want like the full like
you need to put it in a
big
llama
box. Yeah. And so we go to Party City, and the best they have is like a bag. Like picture a bag like this. I mean, it, honestly, even bigger than this backpack. It was just like a huge it's like, comical bag.
For the viewers at home, that's big.
Yeah.
That's big. That's
it's
probably
huge. Yeah. Yes.
I'm trying to think of like a comparison size. Like it's like abdomen sized. I feel like would be like a good way to put it. Like because it's like a human abdomen with like no, but like it has. I don't want to just say like the top of a human, because like it. I'm accounting like, if you took like a Barbie and you took like all of all of like the arms, legs, and head off, like that part of a person, like specific.
Torso?
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Sorry, it's legitimately all I could think of was thorax, and I knew that was even less correct. So I was like, well, I guess it's the abdomen of a bug, so I'll just go with that. And I was like, no, but abdomen's like a muscle, like in the body. I was like, I'll just work with it.
Yeah.
We'll edit it in post. It's fine.
So yeah, and so then we finish the night out. We go see If at an AMC nearby. If is so good. Did you watch If?
I have not. I heard it. But I did find it really funny how many people were talking about how it was a flop because it didn't make money in its first weekend, and now it's making a lot of money.
Yes, yeah, and I felt that. And its first weekend, it was doing bad, and then the next weekend, Garfield came out, and I was like, please, because I also saw Garfield. Garfield is really big. Garfield 2024, bad.
Is it?
Avoid.
How would you compare it to Bill Murray Garfield?
It's as if, okay, you know how like animated movies can be, where it's like kind of like a separate IP, like Secret Life of Pets or something. Mm-hmm. It felt like that.
But then they put Garfield
Then they
in
just
it?
put like it felt like it was supposed to be a different story, and then they were like, cats.
Yeah, basically,
Garfield?
what I've heard from my Garfield friends, my fellow Garf heads, is that it's good only because Garfield is in it. From what I've heard, but I was gonna say, but they also
carry it or anything.
Exactly, but they also said it wasn't like they were like, but I don't mean that in like it's good because it's like it's good because he's in it.
Yeah, it's like that's the only reason I saw it. That's the only reason I'm gonna.
That's the only reason to watch it is as being a true Garf head.
Well, honestly,
and wanting to 100% the Garf cinematic universe.
If it was like a separate character maybe, and somehow they like.
Didn't they randomly like throw his parents in at the end? Like spoiler alert for the
No,
Garfield
his dad
movie,
leaves him in the first 7 minutes.
Man, and there's a whole series of comics about his mom. They're messing with the canon.
Absent.
His mom, to be fair, in the Garfield comics canon, his parents both just kind of dropped him off because they were street cats.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Because there was a whole run of comics, I want to say in the 90s of Garfield comics where his mom shows up and he gets to reunite with her, and it's very sweet, and then she has to leave because she's like, I'm a street cat, I can't stay here. But it's really funny that they addressed Garfield's dad but not his mom.
Yeah.
They said he's a boy, only his dad matters.
It actually did make me cry. Like just like a single tear in the beginning, because they kind of milked like the moment in the trailer. They kind of milked that a little bit.
No, I only laugh because I know in my heart of hearts that I am the type of person. I like if Morbius had a sad moment in it, I probably would have cried. Like I'm such like, and I need like for context, Morbius is one of the worst movies I've ever seen, and I purposefully watch bad movies. I love bad movies. The Room is legitimately one of my favorite movies of all time, even before it was a meme. Like, I knew about it before it was a huge meme because I just, like, heard it was really bad and I watched it and I was like, this is the best thing this is cinema. Right. Or, like, watching... Well, see, the thing is, I don't want to call some of them bad because I do enjoy, like, movies that tried really hard but just can't. Like, there was this, like... I also... Because these also became a meme. Like, so I feel, like, bad. It feels like I'm making fun of them. But there was this, like, joke about African movies for a long time. Mm-hmm. Where like in a lot of places in Africa, they just like get a single, like they get like Windows Movie Maker and like a camcorder and they just make a full length movie. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things where like you can tell they're like trying really hard. They really believe in it, but it's still a full length movie made in Windows Movie Maker. Yeah. So they're still like. And
some of them have like the like sketchy CGI, right?
Yeah. And they all have sketchy CGI and they have like, they're all trying to like, because all of these people are trying really hard to actually make movies, they're also making these movies in English. Yeah. So it also means that they end up being like kind of like there's a lot of like awkward dialogue and stuff because these people are speaking in their second language. And that's what I mean where I'm like, I don't want to make fun of them. Mm-hmm. Because they're very clearly trying so hard. But at the same time, you can't help but laugh when you watch the CGI like helicopter go down and all these people are like, oh no. Right. The helicopter has gone down, and it's like, and you're not laughing because they have the accent, but you're laughing because you can tell they don't quite know what they're saying. Yeah. Like, because they can't quite catch everything, and because I already have enough sensory, like, I have enough, like, audio processing issues, I love watching them because that means I can only pick up, like, half the story. Right. Because I can only pick up, like, a good third on a good day. Like... So then when I watch like foreign films, if I know I'm watching one that's like they're trying to speak in English, I like trying to watch it in English, but it means that I struggle. Mm-hmm. But it makes it funnier because it means that I create plot holes that don't exist for other people, but only exist for myself. So
that can just be answered.
Yeah, like like I truly become like Ace hates watching movies with me if there aren't subtitles because I'm one of those people where I'm like, well, why is he doing that? They just said, well, I didn't hear. Well, you were talking. Well, I didn't hear what they said before that either. Like, I can't process anything that they're all talking too fast and the music's too loud.
You're like, they killed Thanos in the first 20 minutes. How is he back for the ending?
I saw a TikTok that was about like how annoying it is to watch movies with people who just like don't get movies and how like a lot of them aren't linear. Because I know someone who legitimately had that issue trying to watch Endgame with a friend. They were like, but they took care of Thanos. Like, why is he back? I'm like, yeah, they went back into like a different timeline. They're like, oh, so Thanos is back. I'm like, no.
It's like 2014 Thanos, but with a similar motive, but with a different catchphrase for some reason.
No, yeah, because he's on a different timeline. Like, I had to like explain the multiverse to this person. And then they still were like, so Thanos is back. And I was like, yeah, Thanos is back. Thanos is back. It's 2024. Everyone came back and then died again. Fine, whatever. Yeah.
Oh, sure. Isn't it? It's crazy that we've passed in 2018 when it was like 5 years later, 2023 in Marvel.
I remember.
Now we're like past that.
Man, why couldn't I have gotten snapped during 2023? That's what I'm saying. They should have. It was made it real.
Cool that they were like tackling like the blip like while the pandemic was going on. That was kind of like in WandaVision. It kind of felt like pandemic.
See, I fell off like basically completely with the MCU after Endgame because I am in the unfortunate like majority of people who kind of went, yeah, Endgame, that's the end. I don't want to watch all of the Marvel shows to know what's going on, and like because that's part of my problem is that I tried getting back into the MCU And because I don't want to watch the shows because I don't like them, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, if you go movie only, it's
but I just have like I just fundamentally do not enjoy like the superhero TV show.
Oh,
like
totally.
I'm only like if I'm watching a superhero TV show, I want it to be animated. I want to watch the Justice League. I want to watch the Batman. Like I want to watch Batman the animated series, stuff like that.
Well, and like waiting a week for like the new episode of Loki is like I hate that.
And that's like I don't want to spend 12 hours watching a show about a character that I kind of care about, but I also like it's just like why do I have to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to watch movies?
Yeah.
That's like my big thing. It's like it's not even that I don't mind as long as like they're good one. I don't care. Like Moon Knight was good. I liked Moon Knight.
People like Moon Knight.
I liked WandaVision. But I'm not gonna watch Loki. I'm not gonna watch. And I heard that like someone told me that What If matters, like genuinely because they reference it. Like so, like they reference like oh like this might happen, and I was like, does it actually, or are you just being like, are you just being a Marvel fan?
Right.
And they were like, no, like it matters. It's so important. I'm like, see, but that's why I can't watch them because I don't know what shows actually matter because I know What If doesn't matter. The whole point is that it's an AU show. But when I have like so many people who watch Marvel, they're like, well, you have to watch What If. And I'm like, why?
Do I?
What if I don't? How about that?
Well, anyway.
Sorry. I live in a house with a lot of people who really like the MCU. So I have like beef with the MCU at this point.
So yeah, we watch If, really good. Usually my first 2 times watching it, I cried 12 times, but then by this point it was I think my 5th time watching it. So I forget
how often you just rewatch movies. Side effect of working in the theater.
Tickets?
Yeah, I would be the same way if I worked in a movie theater. To be fair.
So yeah, then I sleep it off, and the next day I buy some cardstock from Walmart and I write a little note out and I'm like, hey, sorry if I overreacted, not really sure what's happening, blah 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 blah. And then I drop this gift off at their house. And first I text, hey, are you home right now? Like I have something to give you. And then they don't really respond. But I'm not sure if that was because they're still ghosting me or if because they're like not awake or not home. And so I drop it off and then I go by the river to journal. And then they respond. They say, I am home, but I'm trying to take a nap right now. I feel sick. And I'm like, oh, okay. There's a gift at your front door. And then they're like, there's no gift. And I'm like, what? Oh no, what happened to it? And I'm like, maybe their mom took it in. They're like, no, there's no gift. And also we have like 8 security cameras, so we would have seen something.
Did you leave it at the wrong house?
Yeah, so I checked Google Maps and there's like an identical house to the side. So I speed back down and then I put it at the right house and then their mom picks it up and I'm like, oh, this is sick. And so then like 35 minutes later, still like no response on the gift. And I'm like, this sucks. And so so like 4 minutes before they start like their shift that day, they say, oh, thank you. This is like really sick. This is too much. Oh, you shouldn't have. And then I'm like, yeah, we did it.
You're like, we're so back.
We're so back. And then I send a text that says like spending money on self, X, spending money on others, check. And I feel all good.
Real.
But then twist. I'm still ghosted. I send another text that night and still nothing. And I'm like, a Squishmallow, an axolotl, I took the card out because I wasn't sure if they still hated me, I guess. I have the card. And the axolotl, the Squishmallow, the Taylor Swift album, like, nothing.
That's a little weird to me. I fear. Like, I don't want to be too mean in case like next week we get back together and you're like, oh yeah, by the way, like we're fine. But like but at the same time, my brain is like, you gotta at least be like it's so clear that you're asking for some kind of communication.
Yeah. Okay. So then I'm closing concessions a couple nights later with this whole thing kind of still unresolved-ish, and I say in all caps, I say, guess what? And then all lowercase, what? And I'm like, I cleaned the popper and Grace gave me like a 90% accuracy, because that's like big for me because I don't close concessions a lot, and to get like 90% accuracy on like cleaning it, those poppers need to be so clean.
Oh yeah,
you'd be shocked.
No, I'm not. I worked in a restaurant for entirely too long.
And it's just got to be spotless. And I got 90%. I'm like, yay! And then they say, nice job, all lowercase, no period. And then I'm like, okay. And I say, sorry, was that like a pointless text? Like, should I not say things like that? No response.
Oh my God.
I'm like, oh, come on, it's like something, give me something. And so then the next morning, I'm like, or no, it's 2 hours later that night. I text like, did I mess something up on Friday? Like, was it still like the hang up thing? Like, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, you're like, please communicate with me.
And still nothing until 8 a.m. the next day. And they're basically like, I just don't have like the time and the energy to commit to like the level of friendship you want.
Well,
I can't
fine.
like
Just
text every day.
that.
I can't text every day. I can't like hang out more than once a month. Like you clearly like just want more than me. I'm like, I don't know. Let's see. Oh, and then they were like, also, I really don't like when people give me things. So you just showing up with a gift made me really, really uncomfortable. And I'm like, okay. And then they're like, I get all sick and pukey when people spend money on me. And I'm like, okay.
I just feel like that, like all of that could have been avoided with communication though.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like I'm going older sister mode. How old is your friend? Because I know that you're
22.
Okay, too old to be at their grown ass age. I'm sorry, I'm 20. Like I'm 23, so that's why I was joking about like older sister. Because for those who don't know, I'm 4 years older than Nolan.
That's true.
Like which is part of why I think it's funny that we're friends, because even though we're only 4 years apart, we are two culturally entirely separate people.
Yeah, I don't even have TikTok.
I'm basically a millennial. 2001. Born in 2001 is basically a millennial. I fear, especially because I was an only child, so I only hung out with adults. But like, I feel like once you hit once you get out of your teens, you have to start communicating with people what you want out of friendships. Like I've been trying to do that with you, where like when you felt like I was drifting apart, I just kind of was like, sorry, I'm just like that. I don't respond very often. I look like every time you text me, I look at it. I might not always respond. Partly because I might be like, I'm busy, I'm doing something, but I always look and I always care. I love when people just text me random stuff throughout the day. I don't know if I've told this to you. My friend Shelby, she works second shift at a Quick Trip in her town. And she sleeps until like noon most days because she works until like 10 p.m. and her boyfriend also works second shift. So they both, just stay up super late, sleep in all day, and then go to work at like 1 and 2 p.m. respectively. But because of this, I wake up at because I'm unemployed, I wake up at like 6 a.m. because I fall asleep at 8 p.m. because that's just what I do. I play video games all day and then I go to bed.
Right.
And so until she wakes up, I just use her DMs like my Snapchat story. I just like text her. I just send her pictures. I send her videos. I'll be like, I'm making breakfast right now. Like, there's a TikTok audio that's going around of like a guy like on the edge of tears and he like picks up his phone and it's his girlfriend and she's like, I had popcorn today. And he's like, that's great, baby. And that's what being my friend is like.
Right.
Most of the time is just like, I don't ever text anyone, but every so often I'll be like, I did this today. I did. And if you text me, I'll be like, oh, that's cool. Like, but I don't like, I'm just fundamentally not great at responding.
Yeah. Well, and like
it's a side effect of the ADHD.
With this person too, I don't
ADHD.
like try to like start a conversation and go like a super long time. Like it's also the same kind of thing of like, oh, here's the thing I did. Here's the thing I did.
And I feel like
if that's too much, it's like, dang.
Yeah, and I feel like if they felt like it was too much, instead of just ghosting you, the thing to do is to be like, hey, this is a lot for me right now. Do you think that we could like adjust? Like, because like I know when you and I first started being friends, in my brain, like there was a couple of times where I was like, oh, like no one's coming on really strong, but I was also at the same time I was like, but I'm also like that.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and like I have no one, and I actually just got in an argument this morning with a former friend group. Anyway,
I love that for you.
So okay, so then they're like I'll gladly like give you everything back if you still have the receipts, you can return it. And I'm like, I'm not gonna like drive to Gurney just to like do that and like please you, it's like what, just keep them, I don't care. Or like at this point like find someone else like to give them to, Yeah,
like it's also they're squishmallows. They're not.
Right, yeah, it's a Squishmallow and Axolotl, and like the Taylor Swift album is like maybe I don't know if you tally up everything in your mind and like understand like, oh, I was in a mall, so like this costed but like it's like it's so not about the price.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but it's also 2024, and you could have but him groceries for the same price. So
right,
I mean,
right.
Like there's only so much you can really do.
Yeah. And
I love watching you read through your own notes.
It says no real resolution. I hope things are okay, and that's it. But I worked one shift with them, and like things are like fine. you know, like most things, it just kind of dissolves. Like I don't.
It'll
really
be okay.
know. Yeah, it'll be okay.
It's just a little awkward right now, but in like a couple of weeks, it'll just be kind of like, yeah, I tried to hang out with them, and this is what happened. So I guess that's not. I can't get over like that's so like weird to me. But maybe it's because like I always struggled with like keeping and maintaining friendships. Like I feel like I've told you this before. But for a really long time, even until like honestly, even to this day, I struggle to hold on to friends for more than like 2 or 3 years.
Sure.
Like it's not through any like, and the worst part is that like, this is gonna sound really bad. Part of it's because I exclusively hang out with people who have BPD.
Right.
I just tend to like hang out like specifically when I say BPD, I'm talking about borderline personality disorder for the listeners at home, because I know some people use BPD for bipolar disorder, even though that's technically not correct. No, but I tend to attract people to me that have borderline personality disorder. I think it's because I haven't seen a therapist. So
right.
But so it ends up being that I end up I'm also very well versed in BPD now, because I've kind of gotten used to the cycle of like splitting and getting back together with friends and whatever. Like my friend, one of my very, very close friends, Jess, her name was also Jess. She had a bit of a rough spell, like post-COVID, like just mental health wise. And we ended up not talking for a couple of months, which was really hard for us because we were like talking daily. Mm-hmm. And then we didn't talk for a couple of months. And then one day I got like because I told her not to talk to me until she talked to her therapist again, because we got into an argument, and I could tell like how that so much of it wasn't actually an issue with me, because the like underlying issue is that I had stayed friends with her ex-girlfriend after they had broken up, and she felt like, well, she did me wrong. And I said, I was friends with both of you. Neither of you is 100% right in your breakup. I'm not here to be in the middle. I'm not talking about either of you with the other person, because her ex-girlfriend's my tattoo artist. So I was like, I just like being her friend, and her ex-girlfriend's still my tattoo artist to this day. But I was like, but this isn't, and I had to tell her, I was like, I mean this with all love of my heart. This isn't about you. And she's like, yeah, but like, you're my friend. You're loyal to me. And I was like, I'm both of your friends, and I'm loyal to both of you. You're not letting that happen. And like, we had to have that conversation. And that's something that like I used to struggle with a lot, was like, you're my friend. You're supposed to be with me. Yeah. And it's like, and I feel like, once I realized that, I was able to move past it. And like, I've moved past that a lot in the last couple of years. But I know a lot of people struggle with that. And that's why I think that communication is so important. Because if I hadn't actually stood there and been like, I recognize your patterns and what you're doing, and this is what you're doing, and it's not healthy, and you're not going to talk to me until you get this back under control. And then she sent me a stuffed animal in the mail. Right. With like, it was one of those, because you know, there's so many services where you can just send like an apology stuffed animal, like sympathy card, whatever. So she sent me like a penguin plushie, because penguins are my favorite. And then like in the note it said, I went back to my therapist. And she was like, if you unblock my number and send me a text, like I'll show you proof. Like, because I blocked her number because she tried texting me, and I told her, I was like, I told you what my boundaries are right now. Yeah. And like, are you talking to your therapist? She's like, no. I was like, then don't talk to me. But then we were able to get over that, but we've been able to get over that. And now, even though she lives like 30 minutes away from me, we don't talk every day, but we're at that level of friendship now where like, even if we don't talk, I don't talk to her for like a month at a time, but then I'll be like, hey, I have like, my birthday's coming up. Do you want to come to the Ren Fair? And she'll be like, yeah. And so she shows up, and it's like nothing ever happened. Like, you know? Right, yeah. So it's like, so I think that, but none of that would have been possible without communication. Totally. Which is like such, I can't imagine being 22 and choosing ghosting over communication. Especially when it's so clear that you just like, you didn't do anything wrong. You were just trying, and they weren't giving you anything to work off of. So even if they were like, well, I don't like gifts, how were you supposed to know that? True. Like, how were you supposed to know that they weren't comfortable with your level of friendship? Like,
they specifically said in one of them that like this, and you doing that crosses a lot of boundaries for me. And it's like, I'm thinking like boundaries kind of, not that you can't be like upset about something, but I feel like to call it a boundary, it has to be like placed first. Yeah. Right.
Well, I feel like you can call it a boundary, but if they didn't communicate that with you, like you can't do anything about that. Like, I've had to remind my boyfriend of that, because I've been going through like between not working and like graduating, I've been going through my quarter life crisis, and my poor boyfriend who went through his 2 years ago has to deal with it with me again. But I have to keep reminding him. I'm not like this because of anything. I have to just keep like communicating with him where I'm like, yeah, like I'm not like this because of anything you're doing. Like I'm like this.
Right.
And like he'll do something and I'll be like, I don't want you to do that. And he'll be like, okay. I'll be like, I know. I didn't set that boundary yet. That's my bad. Because him and I have been dating for almost 10 years. And I still have to every so often be like, I'll change my mind about how I want our relationship to move forward. And if I don't communicate that to him, I can't get mad.
Right.
Because I used to do that. I used to be like, well, why wouldn't you understand that I just want more alone time now? And he'd be like, you didn't tell me. Like, and
you're like, oh, right.
Something about being in a relationship for 10 years really teaches a motherfucker to communicate, let me tell you.
Sure.
Keep looking right there. I keep like setting it on the wrong side.
Yeah, that's that shit. I keep looking. I don't know if you notice. I keep like looking and pretending there's like a camera over here.
Yeah, every so often, Nolan does give a fat like Jim at the office, like just. My Ace gets mad at me because I do that when we're like getting ready to like shower. I'll like make a joke and then I'll just like look at the mirror like it's the camera and he'll be like, "Stop doing that." I was like, "No, it's funny. Maybe when you stop laughing at it, I'll stop doing it. Maybe then."
There's we have a guy at AMC that I call AMC Reddit guy. His name is Ethan. No one else calls him AMC Reddit guy. But
I love having my own personal nickname for someone.
Yeah. Oh, I hate him. For the reason he's so Reddit. So I always end up like kind of doing that gym shit. Like no one's even looking. I'm not doing it for anyone. But like he'll just, and dude, I want like, I don't know if this exists, but some small type of like soundboard so I can play cricket sounds. It's like it's that type of jokes. Oh god, I hate them so much.
Dude, I was I went to the Renaissance Fair for my birthday weekend because there's a Renaissance Fair that's in my city every year for my like the weekend after my birthday. And while I was there, it felt like I ran into like everyone I've ever worked with. Like I went there and like I ran into like ex-coworkers that I liked, ex-coworkers I didn't like, but I had my real like staring into the camera moment with this girl that since the moment she got with one of the like line cooks at Cracker Barrel. I don't think he is anymore. I think he got fired. But at the time, he was a line cook at Cracker Barrel. And from like day one, she was just getting like, I hate to say it, she's getting like straight up abused. Like, but not like physically, just like she was being like talked down to consistently. Like she just the reason why I'm pretty sure, like this is my headcanon. The reason why they got together is because she inherited a house when her dad died. So she now owns her house.
Right.
She owns her home outright. And he doesn't have a place to live. So or at least it doesn't seem like it because as soon as they got together, he came over and never left. And she plays it as like, oh, like, you know, like it's really cute that he came up. And I'm like, girl, he needs a place to crash.
Right.
And then he like, he can't drive. He makes her drive him everywhere. And like, he's not nice to her. He was one of those guys that like on his way out the door, he'd be like, goodbye, all you beautiful ladies to all of the like servers on his way out. And, you know, she's like she was like a prep and backup cook. So she was like back behind. So she didn't know how he was interacting. I was like,
yeah.
And it was basically the entire building going, girl, please dump him.
Yeah.
And then while we were there, she said she had to go. She came up and talked to me. And then she was like, I have to go and buy a beer for him or else he's going to get mad. I was like.
And you're like, that is so normal.
I'm like, yeah, that's, I'm like, like you can only do so much for people, but I feel so bad. I always feel so bad for like anyone in a shitty relationship.
Or anyone in a situation where you like really have to like understand that like people are the ones that make their choices and you can't do shit for them.
No, I have a lot of friends whose boyfriends I question very heavily. Where I'm like, why are you even with him?
Yeah.
Like, because I've definitely people have done that with like me and Ace. Because like there were like long stretches of time where like Ace didn't have a job and I was supporting him part time while I was still in school. And people would be like, well, why are you still with him if he can't support you? I'm like, because he's there for me in other ways, you know. Because Ace is always there when I need him. He uses my car, but he drives me around wherever I need to go. Like, you know, he comes over and he hangs out at my house, but he's spending time with my grandma and he's helping take care of her.
Right.
Like right now he's at the house making sure that she's okay in the heat while everyone's out. Like, you know, all that stuff. And it's like, but I also am someone that's like a very hard line for what's defendable. And if Ace had mistreated me at all during that, that would not have been a defendable situation. But because Ace is like a very nice guy, and I'm not just saying that because he's my boyfriend. He's like we've actually gotten a couple of our friends' boyfriends into trouble because they name drop Ace to be like, Ace would never treat Jesse like this. Why are you doing that? Like, which is really funny. It's so funny to me.
Yeah.
That's part of why, you know that Sabrina Carpenter song that just came out? Please, please, please. You haven't heard it yet? No. How dare you?
I
love Sabrina Carpenter.
Yeah.
See, the thing is that I got into Sabrina Carpenter instead of Taylor Swift.
Right.
Because like I'm not. That's like one of the things where I'm like, I joke that's my least millennial trait is I'm not a huge Taylor Swift fan. Just by virtue of being someone that I mean, I was really into her when I was younger during like her country era, but then like I just like I can't do it. Just a personal thing. But I really like Sabrina Carpenter. I really like Olivia Rodrigo.
Olivia Rodrigo is so good, bro.
I'm listening to so much Chappell Rone. I not to be that guy, but I wish we gatekept Chappell Rone. I wish I gatekept Chappell Rone a bit more because I love that she's like blowing up. I'm like, oh yes, my beautiful babe who's been writing my lovely lesbian anthems for the last couple of years. I'm like, oh yeah, awesome. She's blowing up. I'm never gonna be able to afford a fucking ticket. God damn it.
Right. I was listening on my way to the Billie Eilish thing. I was just listening to a lot of Olivia Rodrigo.
Real.
And I was just listening to the Spotify. I liked
Billie Eilish more.
This is Olivia Rodrigo, and like, dude, like her shit just sounds different.
No, you know what's really funny?
In the best way.
Chappell Rone is on the back of a lot of Olivia Rodrigo songs because they have the same producer.
Wow.
So you should check out Chappell Rone if you really like Olivia Rodrigo. No, but Sabrina Carpenter has a song that she just put out. It's called Please, 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 and it's literally just like, don't embarrass me. Don't make me look dumb when I'm putting everything in this relationship. And I like sent, as soon as it came out, I like sent it to Ace. And I was like, this song's about you, by the way. Cause there's like the chorus is like, please don't prove them right. Like, don't make me cry because I just did my makeup so nice. Heartbreak's one thing, but my ego's another. So don't like mess with me. Like it's, because, you know, Sabrina Carpenter has very famously had a not great time in terms of her love life, but she's also like 20.
Right.
So I think she's like in between you and me. I think she's like 21 or 22.
Right.
But I've been listening to her music a lot recently because, you know, since I've been listening to Chappell Rone for so long, Sabrina Carpenter started coming up in my recommended. Between Olivia Rodrigo and Chappell Rone, it was like, you gay bitch, here's another sad white girl. And they were right.
I watched the Billie Eilish album in Dolby Atmos, and it was kind of sick. Like, it was cool. Because, like, except the girls in the front row, they were so, like, I don't know, they just, like, weren't Billie Eilish fans, really. Like, or, like not, like, they didn't fit, like, the archetype. They were just, like... maybe like 11 to 13. They were just like freaking out at like weird times. And
they were little kids whose parents had like heard about the event and they were like, you like Billie Eilish, right? Do you want to go?
Yeah. So they were in the front row. So it was just like I could see them the whole time and they made it kind of miserable. But in the like pre-thing, like Billie Eilish specifically said like, get up, get crazy. Yeah. Like, you know, I'm like, okay. That's
one of those things where like I wish I could get more into Billie Eilish, but I'm one like every time I like sit down to like listen to her, I'm just kind of like, I like a couple of the songs. Like I pick and choose the songs that I like.
Yeah, well that's how I felt.
Yeah,
it just sounded unique.
Oh yeah, no, but I the recent album, from what I've seen, what I've heard and like seen from the visuals of like her videos and stuff, I enjoy the aesthetic and I can appreciate it. It's just not my thing. As much as I love like pretty much all of the Billie Eilish songs I listen to are from like her debut. Like I'm a basic bitch when it comes to Billie Eilish. Just give me Bad Guy, give me like
Ocean Eyes.
Yeah, give me Ocean Eyes, like all like the old stuff. That's all I really listen to because that's like that was all the stuff that came out when I was in high school. So I kind of like had to listen to it. Right. But now I'm like becoming significantly more divorced from pop music, just by virtue of not having to listen to like Pandora stations while during work time. Like, you know, right. Like I don't listen to the only radio station I listen to is like a hard rock station. Like I don't. And that's not me being like, I don't like pop music. I love pop music. I'm just divorced from it now because I'm 23 and I'm like, I'm no longer the primary demographic, which is unfortunate because I used to be. And I don't mean that in like I used to be younger. I mean that in a why does everyone want to sell everything to preteens instead of young adults now? That's always so crazy to me. Is that like the rise and fall of the preteen really like happened during my. I hate to say that it happened during my lifetime, but it's kind of true.
What were we talking about?
I don't even know. We're just yapping.
No, I mean, like, what is the rise and fall of the preteen? I don't know what this is.
So the idea of the preteen is really new. Like that, like preteen demographic of like 12 to, I think technically preteen is 10 to 13.
Sure.
Right? It's like that, like middle school.
Where you're in those 2 digits, but you're not like teen yet.
Yeah, it's that middle school age range where like you want to be a teenager, but you're not old enough yet, you know?
Yeah.
Like legitimately. That's that's why they call it preteen. And so the idea of the preteen really rose. This is entirely unsourced, so I might be wrong.
I'm making this up.
I'm not. I'm making it up based off of what I remember from watching like a lot of things about this because this really fascinates me. But the idea of the preteen kind of rose in like the 90s and 2000s. Because they wanted that new demographic. That was kind of like, that was why like Justice was a thing. Like, you know, that store, a lot like Claire's opened up. They started making a lot of more stuff that was specifically made for preteens. Like that was kind of when, a lot of places switched from being like, oh, well, you're a kid and then you're a teenager and then you're an adult. Because even the idea of a teenager is really new, like in the global consciousness. Because the idea of being like a teenager is new to the last couple of centuries, genuinely. Because if you go back past like 1905, like you
nice number.
Like well, because I was just trying to think of like, because I didn't want it to be too early, but like I don't know. No, but it was like you were a kid and then you were an adult. And then like once like the 20th century started was when we started to have this idea of like teenagers that they're their own separate thing. Right. And that was where we kind of get into like the 1900s era of like, you know, like you're a kid and then you're in high school and that's when you're a teenager and then you get married and you're an adult. Like at least that's how it was for a lot of women. Men went to college and then, you know, but you know what I'm saying. So this preteen demographic was born as like a subgenre of the teen demographic even later where they were like, oh, well now we can market specifically to the like tweens. Like that was where that was when the word tween was born. And then, but now, like recently in the last 10 years, they've kind of been abandoning that again. Justice is like a Walmart brand now. They're like, they don't really make anything for preteens anymore, or like tweens. It's all made because all of the tweens are learning how to be teenagers way earlier with the internet. Like a lot of kids are skipping.
Like a lot of kids are skipping. Doing Get Ready With Me is so sad.
Yeah,
and they have like their full routine, and it's like, dude.
Yeah, but they're just following what they see online. It's the same thing as like tweens wanting to be Hannah Montana.
Right.
You know, and it's just what's being put in front of them. But that's why I think it's really interesting that like the rise and the fall of the tween is kind of like, I don't know if it's truly falling because now it feels like stuff is starting to move back towards them. But as someone that like works with that age range, because like at the church that I work at, our age range is kindergarten through 6th grade. So our oldest kids are just hitting that tween phase. Right. And it's really unfortunate for me as someone who grew up and had that tween era, watching all these kids have to jump straight into being a teenager, because that must be so exhausting. Like not having the era where you have like clothes that are slightly more grown up, like they're not like little kids play clothes, but they're still like pink and sparkly and cute, was like defining for me. I still dress like that, I feel like. Like I'm always wearing colors and pink and sparkles and like, so I might be biased, but it's just like, I don't know, like, especially as someone that's like, my niece is just kind of entering that age range now. She's about to turn 9, or she will turn 9 next year. Where I'm like terrified. I'm like, she's gonna grow up so fast. And I'm like, she can't. That's just a little baby. I held her in my arms. Like, right. And it's someone that wants kids too. Like, because, like, now me and my boyfriend are talking about kids, and we keep being like, oh, like, whatever. And I have to stop myself and be like, yeah, but it also kind of, like, sucks to, like, have to raise a kid now. Yeah. Like, just in general. I don't know. I'm not raising any kids, so I can't speak definitively, but I can speak on behalf of the kids that I teach. They are encountering things that I couldn't have even dreamed of. Like, it's the... Because I also was like, this is another thing that like separates you and me. No one in my age range was an iPad kid. That wasn't an
I
option.
didn't have iPad kids.
What?
I didn't have iPad kids.
No, I know people your age that were definitely iPad kids.
Oh,
No,
actually,
I know.
Yeah, I know. I can. Yeah, you're right.
There were a couple of your peers that I tried to interact with, and I got some glazed over stares while I was in the. That was really weird about coming back to like the community college campus from the main campus, was being like, oh yeah, everyone here is like 18 and 19 again.
Yeah.
I'm not surrounded by like people in their 20s like I was over there. Like, no, this is all. I'm old now. Okay, great. This is great. No, but like that wasn't like a thing when I was a kid. Even laptops weren't really like, I had a family laptop, but it wasn't like everyone has a laptop. It was, we had a laptop.
Yeah.
That me
you
and
watch YouTube on.
Yeah, that me and my dad shared, and I watched YouTube and played Girls Go Games and went on Club Penguin and like all that stuff. But none of those exist anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Girls Go Games exists, but it's all like fetish games and like Elsa Foot Doctor.
Yeah.
Club Penguin's dead.
And then there's like Club Penguin rewritten, but like kids aren't going on that.
No, that's for me. That's for me right now. No, but like, so I just, like, me and my boyfriend have had to have so many conversations about like, we're not getting them an iPad. They don't get a phone until like, we even had to talk about phones, because when I was a kid it was flip phones.
Yeah.
I got a flip phone for my first phone. Ace got a track phone, you know, those little like Nokia brick track phones. Yeah, he had one of those, and he had one of those until like right before him and I got together. He had that until legitimately his junior year of high school.
Right.
I had a flip phone until I was 13. I had an iPad mini that my dad let me use.
Everyone got the iPad mini.
Oh yeah.
You run that thing until it's like it can barely hold 100%.
Yeah, back when it was still 2 inches thick, and everyone always got that one cover that like wraps around and like covers the front with like the magnet. Yeah, I had one that was
and it shuts it off, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was like the peak of technology, because you know all the phones still had buttons then. Which sounds like a boomer ass take, but legitimately even smartphone, like my brain, like my boomer take is like, smartphones need buttons again. Bring back the home button.
Yeah. Dude, getting used to swiping up on the phone was crazy.
Oh, my Ace just got a new phone this last weekend. He went from a $100, like not even, like $100 Walmart, like one of the cheap Android phones, you know the ones?
Yeah.
To he got a Galaxy S24. Ooh. Because we added him onto my family's phone plan, and when you add a new line, you get like that activation bonus that just covers the new phone, because they know that whatever you're going to be paying on for your new line is way more than you would have been paying for a new phone. So we did all that. But now he has to get used to not having like a headphone jack anymore. Yeah. Like he doesn't.
That would be crazy whiplash.
Yeah, no, he's getting whiplash from having like a $100 Walmart phone from like 2015 to a Galaxy S24.
Yeah.
Which luckily that's still not like the newest phone, and he didn't get like an Ultra or anything, so it's still like, and he's still like stuck with Android, so it's a lot of the same. But like I still like every so often I look over and I catch him like just like looking at it and trying to figure out what to do, and I'll be like, Peapod, you need a hand? He's like, no.
I'm pissed that all the new Apple AI features are only on the iPhone 15 Pro.
Dude, I don't want any AI features.
Did you see the images?
Yeah,
dude, I can't believe that's real.
I'm such like,
it's like actually Apple like. And you can use people to make images out of them, and the birthday cake and the superhero.
Yeah, that's another one of the things that I'm like a boomer about, where I'm like, I don't like AI. I want to be, you know how like there's old people now that still can't use like a QR code because every time you try to get them, they're like, no. That's how I'm gonna be with AI. My kids are gonna be like, Grandma, you just have to use ChatGPT to send this message. I'm gonna be like, no, I'm gonna type it. I'm gonna type it with my hands like God intended.
It does make me sad how you can be like, there was one, I think it was OpenAI.
Maybe if they didn't want to be your friend, they should have just started using ChatGPT.
Yeah, right. But there was one OpenAI presentation, I think, where they were like, write my grandpa a letter about thanking him for taking me on this trip, and then he like copied it and like sent it as an email, and it made me sad because it's like, the grandpa's gonna receive that and be like, oh, how sweet, and like you just have to know like, oh, I generated that in 3.5 seconds.
Yeah, no,
that's so sad to me.
I like, because I also am coming from the place of like, I like, as someone that makes art.
Oh yeah.
I hate AI art.
Oh yeah.
I know. I have a friend that legitimately, and I'm being fully serious with this. My friend was legitimately convinced of the idea of the human soul by AI, because he hates AI art so much. He's like, the human soul has to be real, and I'm like, why? He's like, because I can feel when it isn't there, because I can tell, like, because you can always kind of tell with AI.
Oh, yeah. It's like just a little too shiny. The sunbeams are just a little too much.
Yeah, it's like, well, because there's no heart behind it. There isn't really like reason behind any of it besides creating the image. Whereas, you know, when like a person makes it, there's a meaning behind everything that they do. You know, they had to make that choice.
Right.
And nothing reminds me of that more than trying to do art. Oh my God. Because I kind of like fell out of drawing, and I've been trying to get back into it because I don't want to like lose that skill that I've honed over the last 20 years. And, every time I do it, I'm like, I get why people use AI. This shit sucks. And then I'm done. I'm like, this is awesome. I will never use AI.
There's a kid in my film class that goes, I will never use AI. And then Trevor was just like, well, I mean, some people use it just to like do a shortcut. Or he was like, if I needed to draw a picture of a city, I would just draw it. And Trevor goes, I mean, it might give you a shortcut though. It might like give you more inspiration. And at the end of class, he goes, I might use AI. It's like he switched so fast. He was like hard no AI.
See, my only issue with using AI for like inspiration or like references is that most of the time it's wrong. Yeah. So it's so like, but I'm also the kind of person that I'm so picky about my references. It usually just ends up being me handing Ace my phone and like putting it at like the angle that I want, and I get in the pose that I want. And I'm like, Ace, I need you to just take a picture of the pose that I'm standing in so I can see like how skin moves.
Yeah.
Like I can see how the proportions work. Because even if like it's not like, even if I'm drawing like a dude, I'll use my body still because I'll at least be able to get like, oh, like this is where the joints should be. Yeah. But that's also something that something that I wasn't really able to do until college. Like when I was in high school, I had to have like a reference of the thing I was drawing. Like every you could tell whenever I used myself as a reference because it looked like me. But that's because I did a lot of self-portraits in high school. Right. Because I was the only thing that was always around. So it's way easier for me to just take a selfie and draw off that than it is for me to try and get like someone to sit down for 20, 30 minutes. Especially when I'm like, you know, you take a college art class and you're sitting there for 3 hours, like, and they're like, okay, like take a break when you need to, like listen to music, but you're just going to sit there and work. Like, whereas in high school, it's like, okay, you have 45 minutes. Yeah. Good luck. You've been working on this for 6 months. Whereas in college, it's like, okay, you turn something in by the end of the month. Here's your prompt. Show up for class.
Right, right.
Or at least I don't know if it's still how it is here, but that's how it was when I took art classes.
I had a worlds of art. We didn't have to draw or anything, but
yeah, that was probably like an art history or like study of art. Yeah,
kind of just different styles and presentation every now and then. And then you had to go to the art museums and write about the stuff. And I did it. But
you texted me and were like, "Do you want to hang out?" And I was like, "I can't. Sorry."
And then I turned them in just like before the real deadline, like the real canvas deadline, not even like the actual when they have to turn it in, but like apparently her deadline was 3 days before that. But like I did all the work and I drove to Madison and but whatever. Oh well. So I failed that class, but that's okay.
It happens. I think my favorite class that I ever took was or like a class like that I took was in high school. There was a teacher that offered history through art. It was you had to take history through art 1. He only offered history through art 1 during the fall semester and history through art 2 during the spring semester because he just wanted people to be able to. He was like, I don't want it to be a year-long class. I want people to be able to like just be there for one if they want, like. Because the idea was that way you could take like, art history 1 your junior year and art history 2 your senior year if you needed to, whatever. But I took them both my senior year because I needed a credit. And I thought it was really funny going, because the way that he made it work was we like started in prehistory and just like worked our way forward. But there were a couple of times that we completely skipped major parts of the art world. But that was because he said, and I quote, everyone wants to talk about the fucking white people. Because when he was in college, his major was East Asian studies.
Right.
And he was a white history teacher that was married to a Japanese woman. So he was very aware of the fact that he was like, yeah, almost everything that I have to teach is just Western. So he made like an effort to focus on Eastern art and like African art. And I thought that was really neat.
That's cool.
And I feel like if you aren't doing that in like an art class, like if you're just watching like European art, you're not getting the whole story at all. Because some of my favorite art pieces of all time have been like East Asian and African works. But I'm also a nerd, so I go to Renaissance fairs for fun. Speaking of, sorry. I was like, oh wait, speaking of, because I did that and then I like saw a notification on my phone from someone that I do Renaissance fairs with, and I was like, oh no. And then I that I looked and it wasn't anything important. I get nervous because a lot of the people that I'm friends with through Renaissance fairs are very old. Because it's a lot of people that have been doing it for like their entire lives, and now they're retired, so now they can afford to just go to Renaissance fairs all the time,
Right.
which is really cool. But it means that they die a lot, which is like, it's cool because it's like, yeah, I get to meet new friends and like have new experiences, but then it's like, oh, this is another funeral that I can't make it to. But that I feel like that's been my life for a very long time. Like I said, I'm the youngest cousin and an only child. So it's like I was always surrounded by people older than me.
Right.
Which I think was part of why I struggled to make friends with people my own age, because I was like, let's communicate about our feelings. And they were like, but I really want that Barbie. And I couldn't handle that. I'd be like, no, but it's my Barbie and we can like talk and take turns. They're like, no, but I want it. And I'd be like, how are we supposed to? I'd be on the playground like, how am I supposed to make this work?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just
What are we at?
hour
I feel like
15.
I've been here for, okay. We can do the rest 15. I just feel like I've been here for like 2 already. and I'm at like the perfect angle where like my mic blocks it, and even if I did look at it, it's like it kind of looks like an hour 53. Like
no, it's the first one back, so
yeah.
it's weird.
But
It's gonna be a fun one for you to edit.
I'll be right.
So
I actually
you have classes to edit for.
I use AI to edit.
How dare you?
No, well, I take the transcript and I go, is there any revealing information in here? And it.
No, yeah, that's
and it's
it. Like when I feel like I should preface when I say like I hate AI. I mean like generative AI specifically. Like, because I know
if I used AI to make the podcast and it's like our topics, like
if we were going full kwebbelkop. I can't believe. Have you heard of recent? Do you know about all that with kwebbelkop?
I know about it as of like a year ago when he was just like had his little face like reacting to like soap cutting videos.
Yeah, so I just watched an update on that. His views have tanked.
Yeah,
as I'm sure you can guess.
Because he
almost all of his content now is him and the AI interacting.
Oh, that's even worse somehow.
There's this one specific clip of the kwebbelkop AI playing Minecraft that makes me laugh every single time.
Because he reads out every single thing, right?
It doesn't stop talking.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I'm going to go and get the wood, and then I'm going to go and do this. Ooh, sneaky leaves hiding behind the wood. Oh, the grass is so green. Oh, there are flowers over there. I can get like it's just
ice cream so good.
Go. Yeah, it is. Ice cream so good. Luckily, I have purse. Like it's all. No, but it's like it was fascinatingly good but bad at the same time, because it was trying so hard to like make jokes and be interesting and whatever, but because
it's at 100% at all times.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's like this is gonna sound bad, but it kind of gave me the same feeling that I get watching certain MrBeast videos.
Sure.
Like because I've discovered that I can watch some MrBeast videos. I really
he's slowing it down a bit.
Yeah, I really liked
except the 10-minute one. Yeah, that one was so bad.
I didn't watch that. I did watch the most recent MrBeast video I watched was getting people ages 1 through 100 together. And I thought that was a really good video. I thought that was paced really well because it didn't make me feel like I was going to break my neck.
Yeah.
Like that's one of my...
And fuck 43.
Fuck 43, dude.
I hated him.
Now
is not the time to develop a heart. I hate him.
I can't believe that the man that like kept looking at the camera because he knew he was going to screw over 43 at the last possible second. I thought it was so. I was really embarrassed because I actually cheered.
Yeah.
Like I was watching. Like I was like watching it on my phone, and I was just like sitting. Like I think Ace was like playing Fallout or something, and I was on my phone. I was watching it, and he did that, and everyone went like, "Wow!"
Yeah. Yes.
And he was like, "What?" I was like, sorry, I got really into the MrBeast video.
And 43 kept trying to be on his like monologue shit when he's like, and you saw the situation, you decided, and it's like, dude, stop. And then just the comic relief of 54 just being like, yep.
Yeah, so for context, because we're just kind of rambling on and on about this, in the MrBeast ages 1 through 100 compete for whatever. I don't remember how much money it was because he just kept giving more and more money away. I don't
250,000, 500,000,
something like that. No, but so it was. She had a person, like they were all, I don't want to call them cages because they were cubicles. I almost said cages, but cubicles is a much better word, even though there was like a bed and like an iPad in there.
Yeah. But
that was for voting, but it made me laugh really hard when I saw that they had a room with a bed and an iPad.
Welcome. You'll be
I was like,
spending the next 100 days
Yeah,
here.
welcome to the MrBeast video. No, but so they were competing for money, and they all had to come to an agreement for who got the money. That was the big thing.
Yeah,
so,
and that was the difference between the previous video. It's like kind of like last surviving, but it's like that like.
Yeah, so like some of the people ended up leaving because like they did leave. Like the 1-year-old left right away, which made me laugh really hard. It was just the kid of me. Like I was like, how long did you expect that 1-year-old to stay in that little cubicle?
Dude, when they voted out 100.
Oh yeah, because there were multiple times where they had to like vote people out. And there was one point where there was a representative from each like age range because they were all like in lines by age, like divided by decade. Do you remember this?
Are you talking about voting on 100? Because the setup was
no, because what happened was that this is one of my favorite parts was they had every line had to nominate a representative, and then that representative specifically was offered $30,000 if he sold, or like $300,000. No,
an increasing amount.
Yeah, no, that's what it was.
They kept stacking more.
Yeah,
then they'd be like,
here. So if your entire row loses, you'll get $1,000. You'll get $5,000, and I think it was $300,000 that he eventually walked away with. Mm-hmm. Because he was in the 30s and he had like a wife and kids at home. And he was like, my wife would kill me if I didn't walk away with this.
Well, and then, for that person, their odds of like winning the entire challenge are so low. But for the whole row, you have to sacrifice the whole row. That's the thing with the video. They made it very like you are going to have to feel like an asshole when you like make
but the thing
a choice like that.
So the thing about 43 was they started this game where they would pick a number and you had to choose whether they stayed or left. And if you chose that they stayed, the microphone got passed on to the person that stayed. And then if they left,
they got to spin
they got to like spin the wheel and decide, oh, does this person get to stay or leave? Does this person get to stay or leave? Because it was all random. It was like, okay.
And feastables.
Yeah, and feastables. It was all random and feastables. I thought it was funny. I showed like when the like circle thing came up, because I don't watch, like Ace and I don't watch MrBeast videos, so I showed like the spinning wheel that had all the feastables on it, and I was like, wouldn't it be funny if every time it landed on feastables, like it must just be like a filler.
I think it did. There's like 50% odds that it does.
Yeah, no, every single time it landed on feastables, he gave them feastables, and every time it happened, I lost my mind because I thought that was the funniest thing, because I think inherently MrBeast is a very funny man.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so they're passing the mic around. 42 gets it.
Yeah, 42 got it.
And she's like a sweet woman.
Yeah, she was a very nice woman. She had like kids at home, I think.
Yeah.
And she kept getting people she kept getting the kids. Yeah. Like people that were sub 20.
It was like an 11-year-old like crying, pleading like, please don't vote me out. Please.
And then every time she would like even like hesitate a little bit, the guy next to her, 43, which mind you, he's like a 6 foot, like really strong, bald, big beard. Like he looks like a super villain.
Yeah. He
keeps like whispering over me. He's like
Andrew Tate X.
Yeah, because all of the 40s had an alliance. Mm-hmm. So his whole thing was he kept leaning over me like, if you give them the chance, then they can vote us out. Yeah. So you can't even give them the chance. Yeah. But there were multiple times where she very clearly wanted to let the people stay, and he would just lean over and be like, "Don't grow a heart."
Ugh.
He'd be like, "Don't," and he's like he was like pacing around his thing too, like he like arms crossed, like the most diabolical way he could have done. And then when he'd be like, so then eventually they finally offer up. Yeah. So then they finally offer it up. We're like, oh. We're gonna block everyone. We're gonna like separate everyone. It was the first time that everyone was fully separated from each other, and they were like, everyone's gonna step, like you can step out of your cubicle.
Before that, the last one because they had to eliminate like 12 people,
about that part.
And so the last one it landed on 100, and it's this sweet guy, and you know he's 100 years old.
He's 100. They've been talking to him since the beginning. He was very open about the fact that he was just there because he thought it'd be fun. Yeah.
And so he's the last one. If they chose to keep him, he would get the microphone. It'd land on someone else. Doesn't matter. And like the odds are that it wouldn't be like 32 or 33.
Yeah, like at that point they were like pretty much fine, and they still got rid of the guy that was 100 years old, and like and everyone was so upset.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny how genuinely upset Mr. Jimothy Beast was about that. Like he was genuinely like, I can't believe they got rid of you.
I did not raise you like this.
He was like, this is not what it was about. No, but so after that, they put up curtains between everyone's like cubicle because they were all like clear so they could record the video. And they were like, okay, it's that one fucking Mario Party game. Everyone's if you step out, you get the money, but if 2 people step out, no one gets the money and you both go home.
Mm-hmm. And so 43 was loudly saying like, I am going to step out.
Yeah, 43 was literally like going like, I deserve this, like yelling out and being like, I'm going to step out. Anyone else who steps out is just choosing to lose, whatever. Yep. And the whole time, like it's flipping between all the people and this guy in the 50s, number 53, my goat. He keeps looking.
54.
54, like one of them. Yeah. I'm awful with numbers. He keeps like looking at the camera and just winking. And I'm like, you have to do it. You have to do it. Yeah. You have to do it. You have to do it. And then they're literally going like 3, 2, 1. And the second he says 1, the guy steps out so that 42 can't win. And then 42 spent the rest of his time there seething and maulding.
He has this look where he goes, MrBeast specifically goes like, all right. And the only person to step out was 42. And he starts like celebrating a little bit. And then he's like, until the last second, 54. And that was such a good moment. And
it's so funny because he's like, the 43 is like, he's like, I don't know why you'd pick to lose. He just sabotaged himself. Like he lost, whatever. And the whole time the guy's just like silently standing there, like holding his feastables still.
Yeah, he's still winking.
Yeah, he's still like laughing and winking. He's not saying a word to the camera while 42 just keeps being like, and I was playing the game and he just chose to like he never mentions the fact that it's very clear that this man sacrificed so that he wouldn't win. He just like that was the thing that was really funny to me was that the whole time he never mentions he did that to sabotage me because it doesn't cross his mind the whole time. Like you can tell because I don't think he realized that he was literally being like a super villain or if he did he was playing it masterfully at the end because I remember watching and being like, do you really not realize like do you not know that he just did that specifically to fuck you over?
Did you see the follow-up? He made a YouTube short where it was them again.
Oh,
and they played Split or Steal again for $250,000. And 30 what was it 33?
Something like that.
Yeah, so 33 the villain presses Split and 54 presses Steal. And he goes and then he says, so I'm hero. But then in the end, they end up just splitting it anyway because it's like, I mean, it's his money now.
Video, yeah.
Well, it's just his money now. So he says like, I'm going to split it with you. I'd feel like an asshole if I took all that from you, and
that's so fucking ridiculous.
Cool. It was a cool short.
I didn't see that because I don't like, I'm not subscribed to MrBeast or anything. So I
have to be.
I get them as they show up.
I guess he passed T-Series.
Yeah. No, I think it's, I also found it funny that the same day that I watched that video and I like had to tell Ace, I was like, I think I'm like the new era of MrBeast content isn't bad. And then I immediately got too pumped by MrBeast in Fortnite and I was like, I changed my mind. I changed my mind. Yeah. MrBeast sucks. Feastables are awful and I want to die.
Have you tried a Feastable?
I have not.
They're good.
Are they actually? Yeah. I've heard mixed reviews. Some people say they're like really good, and some people say they're mid. They're only good because they have MrBeast.
When they launched the new recipe, he was like, "This is the world's best chocolate ever," and it was like I had one, and I'm like, it's not that much better than the old. But by now, it's like I don't know. If I'm just in Walmart and I'm in the candy aisle, it's like I'll buy one.
I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't. I feel like I wouldn't buy one, but if I was offered one, I wouldn't turn it down. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe in a future episode you can show me MrBeast videos. We can do a commentary track.
The latest one's good. The latest one is paced like similarly to that one.
Is it? Okay.
I would check that one out. It's like do you read the title?
No. I don't.
It's 2 guys in the wilderness. Every day they survive, they get 10,000. But if one leaves, they both have to leave. They still like get the money, but
if put me in there, I'll never leave.
Right. Exactly. And so that's how they start. So.
It's like Naked and Afraid. Everyone thinks they're gonna make it until they're actually out there. They're like,
Right.
That's what I used to love. Do you remember Naked and Afraid?
Not really.
That was kind of short lived, honestly. I wish it lasted longer. But I never watched like a full season, but I used to like catch it when it was on because I just thought it was so funny watching like the first episode where all of them would go in being like, yeah, I feel really good about this, and then as soon as they're naked in the woods, they're like, ah.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like it's I'm however built different and would it's like how it's like how I'm also built different and would be able to tame any wild animal by like putting my hand out because it'll be able to know that I mean no harm.
Yeah. That's how it works. All of them.
Yeah, that's how it works. I've seen How to Train Your Dragon. I think I know how to train a wild animal.
Totally. As long as they don't have teeth.
Well, I mean, Toothless had teeth. They were just retractable. I think with that we legally have to call it.
Right.
I think we're losing it now.
Right.
We finished with Jimothy Beast. Now we're
Yeah, we summarized the MrBeast video for
and not even the whole thing, just the parts that we
somewhat
liked.
non-existent audience.
For all of the 4 people and mostly our people who are directly related to us who are listening to this. At least for now. Someday we'll be MrBeast.
Yeah.
We'll be Mrs. Beasts. No, that just makes us sound married. Mrs. and Mrs. Beasts. All right. Well, now that we are back, we will catch you guys next week with another episode. You got it.
I don't.
You got it. You got it. You got it. You gotta bring it back.
Hold on.
Here, do you need me to do it?
No. I can't. I'm smiling too hard.
There you go.
Thank you.
We'll catch you guys next week.